Hello everyone, this is lecture 5 of module 4 in a series of lectures that I've been delivering to cover the software project management course at the Department of Software Engineering, Faculty of Computer and Information Technology, Jordan University of Science and Technology. This lecture will elaborate on the ISO IEC 12207 standard for systems and software engineering lifecycle. The ISO 12207, as said earlier, is a standard for systems and software engineering life cycle. It defines the processes of the standard as well as the various activities. It establishes a life cycle for software activities applied during the acquisition and configuration of the system services. Each process has a set of outcomes associated with it. And generally speaking, there are 23 processes in this standard, 95 activities, 325 tasks, and 224 outcomes. There is a newer version of this that was issued in 2008. It defines 43 systems and software processes instead of 23 processes. Now, the main objective of this standard is very much to supply a common structure of a well-defined set of processes to be used in software development activities and to be used by the software development parties who are involved in software development, such as the software buyers, suppliers, service providers, developers, maintainers, operators, managers, technicians, etc., etc. As far as the principles involved in this standard, we have the modularity and the responsibility principles. Modularity, it has to do with the coupling of the and cohesion of the processes. Processes in this standard are very much have minimum coupling and maximum cohesion. Now, responsibility, it's like defining the responsibility for each of the processes, the 23 processes in the old version and the or the 43 processes in the newer version that facilitate the application of the standard in projects where many people can be legally involved. The processes in this standard are classified into 3 categories or types: basic processes, the for support processes, and the organizational processes. The support and organizational processes must exist independently of the organization and the project being executed. The basic processes are instantiated according to the situation. Now let's go over these processes one by one. The acquisition phase processes, they include, but not limited to, the initiation process, the request for proposal preparation process, the contract preparation process, contract changes negotiation process, contract update process, supplier monitoring process, acceptance and completion process. As we can see here, the acquisition phase of this standard is very much a mixture of the initiation phase and the planning phases of the project management approach. So the first 2 phases in the project management approach are very much involved here within the acquisition phase. Second, the supplier process. We'll get into the details. Now the development processes. Development processes, as we can see here, they involve functional requirements definition, the high-level design creation process, creating the module design, the coding and the programming process, the module test, the integration test, and the system test process. Then we have the operation phase processes, the maintenance phase processes, and the destruction processes. We will go over these in details later on. Now, let's start with the acquisition phase processes. As we said earlier, the initiation process, and here is the details of the initiation process. During this process, the following tasks are completed. We describe why to acquire, develop, enhance a product or enhance a product. We define and approve the system requirements. We define the global software requirements. We evaluate other options such as purchase an off-the-shelf product instead of developing something in-house or enhance an existing product. Develop the acquisition plan, which is going to be used throughout this phase, the acquisition phase, and define the acceptance criteria. So that's very much what the initiation process is all about. B, the second process in the acquisition phase is the request for proposal preparation. What do we do to prepare the RFP or the request for proposals? We define the acquisition requirements like systems requirements, constraints, target environment, etc., etc. We define the ISO 12207 processes for the project, which processes are going to be used. We define the contract milestones for reviews and suppliers, the suppliers' progress audits, how to audit the suppliers' progress. 3, the contract preparation process. What do we do in this? We develop the selection procedure for suppliers, how to select from the suppliers, assess them and select them, select from the suppliers based on the selection procedure, and then we include the ISO 12207 standard in the contract. The fourth one, the contract change negotiation process. Now, during this process, we negotiate with the selected supplier all aspects of the project to finalize the project, the contract, sorry. Now, the contract update process, easy. Very much we consider the feedback or the comments or the notices that we receive or the observations that we receive from the customer, then we update the contract so we reach a final version. The supplier monitoring, we monitor the activities of the supplier according to our agreements with them. We work together with them to guarantee timely delivery. And the last process and the acquisition phase of processes is the acceptance and completion process, which has to do with developing the acceptance tests and the procedures, conduct the acceptance and testing activities on the product, conduct the configuration management activity on the delivered product. Now let's look at the following phase, the supply phase processes. Now the supply phase, during this phase, the project management plan is developed. The plan, the city plan, would contain information about the project, such as the milestones that need to be reached, the work breakdown structure, etc., etc. You can refer to the third module of this course for more details on the project plan and project planning. Indeed, such a plan would be needed during the development phase. Now, the development phase processes. Now, during the development phase, the software is designed, created, and tested. Throughout time, many people have developed means of developing a software application. The choice of developing method depends on the present situation. Let's go over them the processes, the development processes one by one. The functional requirements definition process. We simply define the functional requirements during this process. And the high-level design creation process, again, we simply provide or derive a high-level design for the targeted system. High-level module design, it's high-level module design and coding and programming. We create the code, we do the programming. And the module test, integration test, and system test processes, very much from the names, we prepare the different or we execute the test plans at the module level, the integration level, and the system level. Now, let's look at the operation phase processes and the maintenance phase processes. The operation and maintenance phases, they go at the same time in parallel, simultaneously. The operation phase consists of tasks like assessing users and working with the software product, and the maintenance is very much to keep the system up and running and look after all issues and have them resolved quickly. Now, the last phase is the destruction phase. Now, the destruction phase of processes, very much once the operation software product is no longer needed, we simply just retire it. We just put it aside. We no longer use it, and that's the end of life of the software. Okay. This slide elaborates on the deliverables of the various phases of the ISO 12207 standard for systems and software engineering lifecycle. Let's start with the acquisition phase deliverables. Now, the initiation process of the acquisition phase, very much it delivers the various initiation documents, like the project description, the goals, etc., etc. The process of the request for proposal preparation produces or delivers the request for proposal document, the RFP. The contract preparation process, it produces or delivers the early version of the contract. Contract changes negotiation process,